I don't usually do two-parters, but I wanted, the conversation was going so good with Robert Jersey, and that's Robert Jersey, Jerzy.
That's true.
On Twitter. I wanted to extend it because I realized there was another thing that happened, or a couple big things that happened, which were the trades. And but before we get to the trades, I just want to close out the conversation with close out the conversation on Leon Rose, and button that up by just adding what my fears are with him. But my fears are the Knicks needed someone who had an overall basketball vision, not a guy who's transactional. Agents are transactional, especially agents who are former lawyers. Pelinka at the Lakers is a former hooper. He played ball with the Fab Five. He's a basketball guy with, I haven't seen it yet, with potentially a basketball vision. More so with Bob Myers in Golden State, who is played ball at UCLA, is a basketball lifer, became an agent to stay close to the game, and then when he got to the Lakers, above him and basically guiding him into the role was Jerry West. There's no Jerry West at the Knicks right now. And I know Scott Perry hasn't done an awful job as an agent, but I didn't like any of the free agent signings in terms of a team that was building towards something. I mean, they got a pick, and we're going to talk about that for Morris. But the person who's in charge of this fix needed to be a home run. He needed to be someone that, when he was hired, everyone said, okay. Everyone was able to take a deep breath and go, okay. There's a guy in place, and that guy is going to install a basketball vision, and we know he's good because he's done it. But for a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 7 years, who has the worst record in the NBA for the 2000s, and if you were born in 2000, you're 20 years old today. A lot of us 90s kids, we hear anything. It could be 2060. In our minds, if it's not the 90s, it must not be that old. But it's been 20 years, 2 decades of futility. So this couldn't have gotten wrong, Robert. That's why I don't like this hire. That's why I would have traded draft picks for Masai Ujiri, because at the very least, you have a guy who has an overarching basketball vision, and players know he knows he does. They've watched him win, and I don't know if that happened here. I will remain sad about it. I'm not going to be phony in that way, but I would like to be, and I want to be honest with you. I think the pinnacle of me enjoying basketball in New York would be that the Knicks and the Nets are both really good. They play competitive games, not just because they're both horrible right now. I'd like to see them be competitive, to be the 2 best teams in the Eastern Conference, and returning our basketball credentials. But New York just seems like a place that doesn't know their hoops, that's not producing hoopers anymore, and that doesn't love basketball. Like on sports radio, they talk more baseball than basketball nowadays, and that wasn't always the truth. So for me, it just needs to. It needed to have been a person who was a home run, but I'm going to close the books on the Leon Rose thing, and let's talk about something positive they did. They flipped Morris and some other stuff, and did this trade yesterday. Robert, give me first, break down the trade for me, and then give me your thoughts on it.
So the trade basically brings Marcus Morris to the Los Angeles Clippers in exchange for the expiring contract of former St. John's star Maurice Harkless.
Yep. New York guy.
A New York guy. A 2020 first-round pick from the Los Angeles Clippers. And a 2021 second-round pick from the Detroit Pistons. There are numerous reports that say that the Knicks have the opportunity in 2021 to exchange first-round picks with the Clippers in terms of the seeding and the position. Now, who thinks that the Clippers are worse than the Knicks in 2 years? But, I mean, we see with the Golden State Warriors this year that things can go south very fast.
Oh, yeah?
And it's just a nice little wrinkle that they have in this trade setup.
The Nets have been burned by pick swaps many a time. So, yeah, good get on that one.
So, the teams expanded the trade to a 3-team trade where the Wizards got Jerome Robinson, who's in his second year in the league, and traded away Isaiah Thomas to the Los Angeles Clippers. And IT got waived by the Clippers immediately, and that's basically the whole framework of the deal. And I was also on record saying that I don't believe that the game the Knicks are playing there, hoping that they can get anything out of the Marcus Morris situation, that they will be successful. And I am wrong. I was wrong because I thought that other teams won't play the game that the Knicks set up with the Marcus Morris signing, that they would talk indirectly to Morris through his agent and say, listen, Marcus, NBA trade deadline is over. You want to play playoffs. You are a free agent in the summer. Just demand a waive or a buyout and then come to us. And I thought this would happen. But actually the Knicks got a really nice package out of the deal. I don't think that Marcus Morris was really a piece for the future, objectively speaking. I think that the Knicks organization thought differently, and I know that some fans were actually warming up to the idea that Marcus Morris stays in New York long term because of his performance this year. But I think that the Knicks did the right thing by trading him away, getting a first-round pick, getting another second-round pick. And we should remember, Yves, that in 2021, the Pistons could be very bad in light of the Andre Drummond trade. So a second-round pick can essentially be like an early
first round. Yeah, I agree with that.
So it's actually nice to get this kind of a deal from an expiring contract and somebody that is not really part of your future. I would have really liked them to get Terrence Mann, the rookie from the LA Clippers, who is kind of a point guard, small forward kind of guy. And he was initially in the reports. So I was way more excited about it. But objectively speaking, the Knicks did very well. And they have, I think, 7 first-round picks over the course of next year's. So they do very well objectively, which is great. On the other side, they're still stuck with all of the other contracts that they handed out in the summer. These players are still getting more playing time than the young guys. You still don't see a real basketball vision, something that you just addressed with Leon Rose, and I think that's true for the whole organization. It's true that Scott Perry didn't do a horrible job, but let's be honest. If we say that, hey, at least he didn't do a horrible job is the baseline for your assessment of a team, you are in deep trouble. You should always strive for the best possible outcome. And I don't think that Scott Perry in all of his time did a very, very good job, considering the fact that he completely sabotaged the point guard position with his love for Alfred Payton.
Yeah.
Bringing him in, just basically destroying the value of Dennis Smith Jr., which whatever happened in the background, and I'm not aware of the real issues there. But objectively speaking, there were a lot of decisions made that are not very beneficial to the organization moving forward.
Yeah, no, the Knicks lack structure, and you see it in their young players, and I can never find this quote again, but Kristaps Porzingis gave me the biggest, basically view into what is wrong with the Knicks. Tell me if you remember this, and I can't find the quote anymore, but I swear I read it, and because it struck me so hard, struck me and struck a nerve with me so much that it just unveiled why the Knicks were the Knicks. Kristaps was asked, "Why are you rehabbing in Spain when you could be here with the Knicks doctors and the Knicks coaches, and you know your rehab could be supervised?" And he said, "I don't know if I show up to the building, will there be someone there to tape my ankles?" I didn't make that up, did I?
No, that's something that was part of the Woj podcast that I mentioned before, was where Porzingis told Woj that like he wanted to go to the gym and work out, and nobody was there. No jerseys, no basketball, no preparation, no trainers. So there is a lack of structure, and there's a lack of just overall like offerings and quality in terms of allowing the players to develop and getting better. Yeah, that's a huge problem. And and he didn't make this up.
And I know he did it. And basketball, and I don't just see it in basketball. I see it in European football too. Like I look at what we call soccer here. Every time I say it, even though I grew up saying the word, it just seems foolish now that I've started watching Premier League and I hear them call it football. So I don't say soccer anymore. But European football, I look at organizations like Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich, and it's like NASA for athletics. And they take children from early youth stages and they build this person up as an athlete over 10, 15 years. And in America, in the 90s especially, it was very different. Players smoked cigarettes. They drank really hard. Sometimes they'd show up at the gym, with a hangover. Nobody really had trainers. And then even the team facilities, it was just really X and O's and coaching. We're going to go out here. We're going to coach. We're going to have somebody who kind of, helps you lift weights or whatever you're trying. But the athletes had to get their own trainers. When I saw Sean Marks install the program and he went out and got a Navy SEAL, and when the players join the team, they get a loose leaf binder that tells them that here's your height and weight now. You need to lose body fat by this much. You've had X amount of surgeries on this particular knee. We need to balance you out and change the way you dribble. Like amazing stuff. And at the biggest, most valuable franchise in the world, they're working out at a college gym. And they don't have a notable name as the person who actually does the workout for them. And who is the guy that is in charge of nurturing these young guys and their growth as athletes? And that is shocking to me. That and I know we veered off from the trade to basically talk about this, but that's why I don't love draft picks for the Knicks. If I'm building the Knicks, I'm building the Knicks on as many kids as I possibly can. But the real success of a trade like this isn't that you get to make the picks or that you stack the assets, is that you could create a system in the background that will make sure that these picks succeed. That at the very least that they will create some value to build a culture. And I hate saying the word culture, like Sean Marks makes me hate that term, but there should be a culture of I'm a brand new pro ball player. I'm RJ Barrett. I'm in New York City, and I have this structure that I'm being groomed at, and I'm at the NASA of basketball every day, and the best minds in physical therapy, the best minds in even the mental side of it. Like I for my team, I hope that there's some